What does he lose, I guess? In between it. That's nice too.
Yeah, and there's only one person.
Fill the water thing. Is that your job? Water thing. In the refrigerator. Don't. You want some? It's in the back closet, I can get it.
Closet.
Yeah, I'll be wearing, I'll fill it up next time.
What's he gonna get us, chocolate?
No, water.
What? It's a new year, Miguel.
I know you missed that 2 weeks ago. Oh. I know it's only the second, but we're trying hard.
You are.
Yeah, 2 days and my body's in complete shock. What are you doing to me? Where's the sweets? Where's the alcohol?
You like one too?
Thank you.
Set it outside, it'll be good for 1 to 5 minutes. Frozen. So your Lambeau field wasn't in freeze?
Oh, man. We load up the car with all this farm stuff, get there, follow the thing, go through the gate, get ushered on the elevator, you know, the doors open, it's a heated indoor golf course. Oh, we were shutting clothes up there. So it was neat to go there and see it.
I bet.
But we didn't get the whole Lambeau experience, and I can't say I'm disappointed in that because it was cold. Just walking from the parking lot, oh, it was cold.
Wasn't much of a game.
No, the game was a dog.
Robin, if I recall, I think cameras are supposed to be in the back so people don't trip on them when they come up here. I think if you read the rules of conduct for our meetings,
Says
cameras
you-
are supposed to be in the back.
It says you
And the
can-
signs too should be out the door.
It says you can record from by your seat, except
Yeah, by your seat, but you're not by your seat.
I'm in my
Half the
seat.
council chambers.
I'm in my seat. They're right by my seat. And signs are allowed of this size, 8.5 by 11. Your new rules of conduct state that clearly. Are
Right, you
you?
can't be hanging from stuff.
Where does it say that?
It's hanging from your camera, right?
It doesn't say you can hang from it. It doesn't say that at all.
Did you read
It
it?
says it cannot be put on a stick or other
It's on a stick.
or
It's
other
on your
prop.
pole.
It's not on a stick.
It's on your camera pole. It's on your camera stand. It's on a tripod.
That's not
Take
what
it for all
it
you
says.
want. You want to twist stuff, we can twist stuff too.
Well, that's not what your rules say. It's on a string hanging from my camera pedestal, my tripod.
So here's John.
Okay. Call it 7 p.m., call the special work session of the City Council to order. Public forum, individuals may address the City Council on agendas on or not included on the agenda. Speakers are required to state their name and address for the council record and limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less. Speakers are requested to frame their comments around the items that fall within the authority of the City Council. Generally, the City Council will not take action on the items discussed at this time, but will place the item on file, take the matter under advisement, refer the matter to staff or committee for free to report, or direct the matter to be placed on the upcoming agenda. Does anybody wish to speak?
Yes, I would. Is that speaker on?
Good.
At the podium?
Should be. Unless it came on.
Robin Hensel, 807 First Street Southeast. It is unchristian, immoral, and illegal to discriminate in America. Only persistence has forced city staff, mayor, and council to obey the Constitution once again. Once again, the First Amendment prevails. Once again, decisions and actions in this chamber stain this community. From a December 15, 2000 letter from Patrick Elliott, the senior counsel from Freedom from Religion organization in Wisconsin. A letter to Mayor Greg Zilka, unconstitutional invocation, dated December 17th, this last year. Quote, Dear Mayor Zilka, I'm writing on behalf of the Freedom from Religion Foundation regarding a constitutional violation occurring in Little Falls. We previously wrote to you about the City Council's annual practice of opening its January meeting with exclusively Roman Catholic prayer. We've not received a response to our initial letter or follow-up letter dated August 10th, 2017. We again request that you demonstrate respect for the diverse range of religious and non-religious citizens by leaving religion to the private conscience of each individual and ending the city's practice of hosting prayers at the January meeting. We are concerned that the invocation practice has been used to favor the city's preferred Christian religious beliefs to the exclusion of all other beliefs and non-belief. This poses significant problems under the First and 14th Amendments to the Constitution. See Williamson v. Brevard City, unquote. This is from the attorneys who won the case. Quote, the county's outright exclusion of non-religious speakers was unfair and unconstitutional. This decision sends a powerful reminder that no one should be treated as a second-class citizen by their local government, unquote. This is a letter from Jon Radermacher to Freedom from Religion, Patrick, Senior Counsel, in part, quote, in response to your letter from December 15th, 2017 to the mayor, the city will no longer practice on the agenda an invocation for any of our city council meetings now and in the future. We respect the right to free speech for all. It should be understood that government officials also have the right not to listen. Happy New Year, unquote. But this flies in the face of League of Minnesota City's recommended model statement of values, which says in part, the proper operation of democratic government requires that decision makers may be independent, impartial, and accountable to the people they serve, communicate in various ways, to be approachable, open-minded, and willing to participate in dialogue, engage in effective two-way communication by listening carefully, asking questions, responding appropriately, which adds value to conversations. Do not interfere with the orderly conduct of meetings by interrupting
Time's up,
others
Robin.
or making personal
Time's up, Robin.
I heard you. Maybe you could shout a little more.
Does anybody else wish to speak? No one else wish to speak? We'll move on to discussion of the bills. Is there any discussion of the bills this evening?
I just have one question. I talked about the county district, maybe voting. We just talking over.
Correct. So we had more, that one's kind of a complicated one. So in Integrated Holdings case, the company that had the business, the gentleman died and the company ceased to be in business anymore. So they sent the payment back to us, and we voided it out, and then we'll certify the TIF district. Yep, send it back to the county.
Thank you.
Any other discussion of the bills? Moving on to the discussion of consent agenda items. Is there any discussion of those? Seeing none, moving on to council informational items. Didn't have a lot for discussion, but I would like to bring up that we should strongly consider coming up with recommended ideas and plans for discussion for pursuit of a local option sales tax. If we are going to do that, it would need to be as part of the general election that we would host this year. There has been, I've been reviewing the comprehensive plan surveys, information that we got back there. Among the discussion a lot was the bridge, but need for a recreational facility conference with some conference center features would be was something that was also identified as within some of those items. Likely, discussion of the Low Falls area recreational complex and having some features included and added to that would probably be I think that would kind of fit in line with those discussions. So I know that's something that was thought of, discussed. The mayor and I were approached by the school district after their referendum the second question had failed, and the discussion of needing gym space and recreational space was still necessary, even though that they didn't have it passed in the referendum. They weren't going to be able to build those facilities themselves. They were still interested in exploring that further, and we're wondering if the city would be potentially interested in partnering with them in some capacity. So I know those ideas are out there, and I think it might be pertinent for us to pursue getting public input if that's something that potentially could be feasible for putting that question on the ballot.
Would like the zoo do for some expansion and clean up some of that debt on that? Would that be something that's an option on there too, or can that not be added on to?
They typically have listed all of the projects that you would have included, so they would all need to merit that regional impact. But I know with Stearns County, their library was included, but they had 5 or 6 other specific items that were identified in the projects that they were going to fund. The funding, I think, can work out in a variety of different ways, but I think typically you see the main project being the first identified, and then any other subsequent projects would be if money was available. You had the first one paid off, and while the time you would still have the sales tax collected, you would be able to fund those additional. I think that's what I've seen in terms of other projects get listed in that.
So basically, you have one item and then a bunch of pork right along with it.
If you can justify it for the regional significance, keeping in mind that the state does need to approve that after it's been approved by local voters.
And I also believe that you can't go back and fund anything you've already done. It has to be future stuff.
Right.
So they can't take care of the
The debt,
debt,
but
but they can fund future projects.
Right. So the audit will probably be done by the time this goes through, but there's other stuff if you want to do to get nationally accredited.
Absolutely.
So,
That's what I was gonna bring up.
Well, and the council started a year or two ago discussing, what you just brought up, John, as far as we had some sort of a convention center or community center with the possibility of gymnasiums, and then have someone tack on a hotel or a restaurant along with it. Because even in community development discussions, for Airborne talks about taking clients that stay in St. Cloud and no-brainer because they have more options and they don't have to, they can walk right from their hotel room to the something to eat or to have a drink. There's just a lot of options that we don't have. Nothing against what we do
Yeah,
there.
and I think, you know, based on our location, we make well for a statewide, regional, even regional, for a smaller conference venue. Obviously, the resorts in Brainerd are going to attract a certain clientele. The River's Edge and St. Cloud is going to attract a larger conference size, but you know, that 200, potentially 200 person conference area, we do, you know, while it'd be great to have it here, we may have spaces where we could possibly get everybody in, but we don't have hotels in close enough proximity where everybody could kind of stay near where they're going to be meeting at, all in the same evening. So even then, we only have 170 beds in our community. 300?
Counted them.
Rooms or beds are probably different.
Beds, not rooms.
Oh, rooms, sorry.
Beds.
I got 6 clients.
Beds or rooms?
Beds.
So it certainly is I think, an opportunity for us to explore further. I know that would just on our own needs of why we didn't get the Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities Conference. The only reason we didn't was they said that proximity of hotels to where we were planning to meet when we put together the presentation for that was our own fault.
Well, once again, that $500,000 that was identified, we're paying that off every town around us. Brainerd, St. Cloud, Sauk Rapids, Sartell, Baxter. So why not collect it in our community?
Crow Wing has also the transportation extra half cent as well. So the Crow Wing County area is going to be 1% on top of the statewide sales standard students.
I think we do allocate some money not long ago.
We did for the study.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that actually came in well under budget, but what we got back from working with the extension office, some extensions.
So that's all in place already.
Yeah, so that was where we determined that potentially $500,000 of revenue would be available to us through the local option sales.
I'm in agreement to pursue that. It's like you say, you go to St. Cloud, well, it's just not sales tax, there's other taxes on there, but it's 12.5. A lot of that money, and we spend a lot of money in St. Cloud. Why shouldn't people come here do the same thing to kind of benefit our community? So I've always been on board with doing that, and I'd like to see it pursued.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you can. Granted, I don't know what the total numbers for the cost of that facility would be. I think a lot of it would depend on what additional partners you'd want to include if they, in the spaces that they would need. We could easily build, or you could easily separate doing a conference center versus a recreational facility of what the school is kind of talking about. But I think you could gain a lot by having something combined, and if the school has resources to kind of facilitate paying for that, rather than having to build it themselves, I think leasing the space in order to use it, I think that would be a good partnership.
So how many years can you collect the local sales tax option? Is there a max on
I
that?
don't believe there's I want to say 20, but I don't believe there's that firm dead max, or that if you get to that 20 and it's not paid for, that you couldn't collect it again. I think
Can't you go for an extension?
Yeah, they would offer extensions. You do need to set in the question how long you're going to set it for. So it would be. Yeah, so it would.
If you collect $500,000 for 20 years, that's enough, that's $10 million, is that enough to build a complex like this, what we're talking
The,
about?
the one kind of example that pops into my head is this type of facility is the one in Wadena that was recently built, National Ski Center, NAS it's called. It's actually, it is owned by the city. It is a recreational, they have a water aquatic park component, they have a conference center component. With it, there isn't a hotel right on the property, but there is one. I think it's kind of within a quarter mile across the street. But that was $12 million. So I think it isn't going to get built strictly on the $500,000 a year from the local option sales tax. I think a partnership would be necessary too. You'd have to get some revenue from other sources, especially if you're going to build a recreational component that the gym wants to use. The gym's going to pay for that kind of that part of the facility. So.
Well, we had talked that, and this is just thinking that the school and the hospital could go with levy 50,000 a year, and that's another 100,000.
Yeah.
Potentially, that's not saying that's.
If that's what if they need the space and the space, the quality space that they were looking for was built within that facility, I mean, they would certainly be open to wanting to lease that space. Granted, what their financial constraints are on that is going to be up to their boards and decision makers that can spend that money, but I think it would be a lot easier investment for the school if they're only leasing a part of the facility rather than spending the full allotment to construct it.
So you would borrow the money, build the complex, and then use the tax money to pay it off.
Yep. So it would be just like kind of anything that we bond for with our street projects, infrastructure projects. We're borrowing the money, we're collecting the paper, we're generating the promise to pay it back through assessment dollars and our tax levy that we're establishing for it. So this would be utilizing, dedicating the sales tax money to be paying back the construction bonds.
Plus, revenue that comes in from the building, some of that.
That would likely be used for the operating of the facilities.
It has to be more than that. It just doesn't break even.
That's going to be the biggest challenge, I think, in the long term, is you wouldn't use all the money you're getting from the hospital or the school or any other partner that you're renting, you're leasing the facility to. They're gonna pay for operation of the space as well. So.
Do you have any idea where this complex might be built? Is there been any discussion?
I would think it would need to be in a facility that's probably 5 acres. So likely you'd want it. Well, if we're going to build it, we're going to build it in the city limits. So it would. I mean, there are high traffic areas or high visibility areas from the highway are going to be important targets, but
It's out by the freeway somewhere?
areas that we own are probably higher priorities too. Then we don't have to worry about land acquisition costs. So. There's numerous areas in town that we own property that meet those criteria.
So if this vote is passed on the next ballot, the next vote that we have, would construction start then in 2020? I mean, do you have a timeline?
I think you could. Effectively, you would start, if it's passed in November, the state legislature then will take the question up in the next session. So once they approve it then, and I believe the sales tax revenue collection starts in the following January 1. So like the county board, when they did the transportation sales tax, they granted the board could approve it so they could submit everything to the Department of Revenue and they didn't have to worry about the state then approving it again. So then January 1, they're collecting sales tax for transportation. For us, it's after the fact of when the legislature approves it. So,
And then you can start right
so
away?
you could, I mean, Usually you build a project fund. Sometimes if you don't have the capital resources to do that, you would do a construction loan and borrow the money earlier, and then close that construction loan, the project fund out, and then you would turn that into a debt service fund with the bond proceeds afterwards. So it's not that you would be constrained, I think, in starting in 2020 or not until you start collecting sales tax revenue, you could start prior to that.
And also, there were some suggestions and discussion about possibly getting some sort of donations from, whether it's a large business or whether it's a nonprofit that wants to make
Absolutely.
a large contribution.
I'm confident that the Maslowski Center in Marina is not named the Maslowski Center because they, just like the name, there's probably money involved in it. The fallback to that is we can't solicit for donations. We can't go out and ask people to donate money or basically
But if
tell
someone would
them.
come offer to do that,
Yeah,
we can say yes.
Yes.
And it's not that somebody else can't solicit on our behalf.
As
It's
long
not
as it
us,
isn't coming
it's not-
from the
Yeah.
city council or
Yeah.
city staff, then by all means, it's fair game for anybody to.
If one nonprofit decided to lead it and went out and solicited, that's got nothing to do with us.
We're not directing them to do it, we're not paying them to do it. We, again, with the sales tax too, just a caveat, we can't spend money on lobbying for it, we can't spend money on campaigning for it. It's, we put the question up and.
We can do information on it.
We can provide information
Truthful.
what its impact would be. Obviously, having the sales tax data helps. And you kind of share, you have that bottom line to be able to kind of explain to people what this impact is going to be on for the community, what potentially it's going to be for those businesses that are in those industries.